Veteran NASCAR fans in the country have been begging for the return of stock car racing at Lucas Oil Raceway, the famed short track in Indianapolis. Today we get that opportunity to see stock cars back on track, but it's not the way most would expect. Hello and welcome to the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage of the Jetta Rallycross Charity Cup at the Rallycross configuration here at Lucas Oil Raceway. A car and track not suited for each other by any stretch of the imagination is always a fun opportunity for both us in the booth and for the drivers on track. Speaking of the booth, live coverage today will be brought to you by Gary Weaver, joining yours truly, Nick Schmeg. Joe Peak's using his skiing goggles as dirt racing goggles today, and he's got director's duties. As always, he'll be using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Lucas Oil Raceway has a specific reputation among those near and dear to it, but today, that's going to all have to go out the window net. To see what I mean, let's get a better look at the challenges the drivers are up against today with the GSRC Lap Guide.
Welcome to Lucas Oil Raceway. This track has the rare distinction of being one of the few rallycross circuits on the iRacing service to be based off of a layout used in real life. This little bullring oval in Indianapolis, Indiana hosted the Global Rallycross Series, and iRacing decided to give it a virtual counterpart. What's most striking is that the 0.8 of a mile layout has only 5 counted corners. Granted, how you count them is a matter of opinion, since some turns go on for what feels like ages. The simplicity is deceptive since there's a number of hidden technical challenges. The first turn has some of the scariest curve braking you've ever seen and funnels into one of the narrowest parts of the circuit and into where the dirt begins. The infield section kicks off with a pair of finicky 90-degree turns and then blasts you into the jump. Following the remainder of the oval's pit road, this long curving right-hander lets those with finesse shine and proves who really knows how to drift. Here the track returns to pavement. You would think the incredibly sharp hairpin going from dirt to tarmac is the more distinctive aspect, but the final turn that includes NASCAR 3 and 4 is another spot that will lure you into a false sense of security. The banking around this sweeper makes it fast, but perhaps too fast. The drivers who get too greedy can easily wind up slamming the outside wall. All in all, someone who was overconfident might look at the track map and scoff, but once they get behind the wheel, it's a whole different story. Only those who respect the track and work hard to unlock its secrets of speed can truly become masters of this short little Midwestern circuit.
And you can see this is a fun one here at Lucas Oil Raceway. All of that done with the the Rallycross specific vehicles. Today we've got the Volkswagen Jetta, Gary, and that is gonna this track's gonna present it with some interesting challenges.
Yeah, the Volkswagen Jetta TDI taking to Lucas Oil Raceway here. A little bit of interesting layout as well. 5 turns, as you can see, just under 0.8 miles in length at 0.79 miles and 1.27 kilometers here, situated in Indianapolis, Indiana. So this track is, well, in a sense, the oval portion of this track, rather, is kind of similar to New Hampshire in terms of banking. That's relatively flat for the most part, a little bit of banking in the corners, but well, we're taking the entire rallycross section. You can see that hairpin in the top left-hand side. That's going to be a very key portion of this racetrack. These cars do not like to go sideways on asphalt whatsoever. So not only that, but there's a little bit of a sausage curve over there, a turtle, as well as over at the Roval in Charlotte. So that corner is going to be more than likely a very big challenge for these cars.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. Only 5 turns here. But they are all going to present some very interesting challenges for these drivers today. These drivers are fighting for a championship. We're about halfway through the season. They are fighting for those positions for their charities, of course, but we've got some points as well to go over. Aaron Cortez has the lead over Gabor Albertvisky. 6 points separate them only. That's going to be big to watch. Chuck Johnson, Tim Brokaw further back, and Robert Abrams as well, just rounding out that top 5, but you can see the gaps getting very big back there. So right now it looks to be like a fight between Cortez and Albertvisky. We've also got some race details to go over, Gary. I would assume many of these viewers not quite used to a format like this, so why don't you help them out with some details?
And here for your race details, it's around 4 of 8 halfway through the season, the halfway point of the season, I should say, in the Volkswagen Jetta TDI Cup. Not the Volkswagen Beetle Rallycross car, the Volkswagen Jetta TDI Cup. The road course version of the car, front-wheel drive as well. So very big challenge for these drivers here tonight. 3 heats all 5 laps each for the time being, at least. If needed, top 2 will advance to the feature. Again, that's all 3 heats if needed. And 2 consolation events, both 5 laps each if needed as well. And at the moment scheduled is going to be 1 driver advancing into the feature event. So that, of course, is subject to change. But regardless, it is going to be a 10-lap feature with 10 cars maximum.
Yeah, and we've got, it looks like 16 drivers signed up and in the garage area here at Lucas Oil. So got a good-sized field on hand for this thing. Got a few minutes left of their practice, then they'll have qualifying, and then, like you said, they'll have their heat races. Then we'll go down to a last chance qualifier consolation heat, and if they need that, I mean, and then they've got a 10-lap feature to look forward to. Right now I'm seeing lap times at about 51 seconds. And it's Gabor Georgi on top of things.
For the time being, with that time, that's going to be just under 10 minutes for the feature event. So that's just barely squeaking by as well in terms of timing. But, well, if it's possible, they know they can do it. So definitely going to be something to really look out for here as well. Now Gabor Albertvitsky replaces that fast lap time with a 50.839. So about a tenth of a second quicker than the number 44.
Yeah, there you see him right there getting by Bent Bulzis. And that is a very tough part of the track. It's a chicane right there in turns, I guess that'd be turns 2 and 3 over there. And you mentioned those curbs over there. These cars, though, have a tendency to flip over. You do not want to hit that curb over there.
That section is going to be absolutely a challenge, really. I mean, this entire track is a challenge, really, to these cars, but this section right here, just the opening few corners, is going to be something to keep in mind for the handling of the cars, how they're going to handle, what drivers will have to do to adapt to essentially a different layout. Gabor Albertvitsky again setting an even faster lap time, 0.3 of a second quicker at 50.538. So he's just on a roll right now for the time being. And well, this track doesn't really seem to be much of a challenge for him so far.
Yeah, he's certainly going to be raising some eyebrows with that time. And there you see Eric Hodel go over. And that wasn't anything from the curbs. That wasn't from any contact. That was just the nature of the car. You're going to have to watch out for that over there in the hairpin for sure.
Yeah, hopefully we can get an onboard lap here for Mark Sinogi here, pending, of course. You can see over there on at least the left-hand side, that is the Joker lap, and he just had fast lap time as well. So this opening section here is just going to be absolutely, oh man, just it's a challenge even in the rallycross cars. I should know from experience, it is an absolute challenge to go pretty much from left to left again, and then immediately to the right on dirt as well, over the jump, which is pretty much the easiest part of the course, aside from the asphalt portion where it's on the oval. But this long section here on dirt, it's just a little bit of a long slide, really. And then the fun part is the hairpin. You see over there on the right-hand side where they will start. So luckily they don't have to deal with the hairpin right off the direct start, but that's pretty much it. It's just back on the oval for the course.
Yeah, and you mentioned that long right-hand slide through the dirt here. And these cars, of course, don't normally have the don't really have the traction, to stay put there on the dirt on the inside line. If they're racing side by side, one thing I noticed, Gary, is there's a little strip of asphalt way out to the left there. They might be able to latch their rear tires onto that for a few seconds and get some extra push off the corner.
It should be able to. It's pretty much wall riding, well, not exactly wall riding, I shouldn't say, but more just getting those tires on the asphalt there to the edge. It's very close, but from having it done a few times myself, it doesn't exactly work out entirely. So we'll see how these drivers decide to take to that dirt section, or at least the last portion of the dirt section, but it's a very bouncy car when it comes to this hairpin.
Yeah, and front wheel drive as well, which will make that all the more difficult through there. You did mention that Joker as well. The Joker lap here, compared to other rallycross tracks, it doesn't ask much of you. It really is just the inside line. It takes you down on the apron. It's not going to give you too much of an advantage, it seems like, compared to many other tracks.
Yeah, the Joker lap, as a few drivers have taken now for practice, and now the 13 is taking that Joker lap right now as well. So, yeah, it's pretty much just equivalent to just running the apron, really, and that's basically it, just running a lower line for the most part. So it doesn't give you an advantage. It doesn't give you a disadvantage, but it does have to give yourself, you do have to have a little bit of track awareness as well in the meantime when you're taking to that corner, because, well, you're going to be either on the inside of somebody or the inside of two other drivers. So giving and taking a lot of space there is going to be very key.
Exactly. These cars can bounce off each other, but not too much. They don't want to get too greedy with that characteristic of the car today. I'm still winding down here in practice. A lot of drivers on track. Of course, I would want some extra practice with this car. Everyone trying to find the little extra grip they can. Any advantage you can get here. When you've only got 5 turns, we've talked about how difficult this track is to get around, but what about passing? I mean, they're still going to be in a race here. They can't just sit in line. They've got to get around one another.
Really, the only actual passing opportunity for me, at least personally from memory, it seems to be at least the oval, if you can get a good enough slipstream. But I mean, that's just the Jetta we're talking about, so I don't think really slipstream entirely matters by too much, especially on the oval portion. But we'll see. This opening section, though, in the oval, it could be a good passing zone, trying to get into the inside of somebody, and as well as the exiting dirt section over on the right-hander.
That's a good point. They do punch a big hole in the air. And the practice session has ended. We've jumped into the evening with the sunset here in Indianapolis, and qualifying about to commence. They've got 3 laps to put together here. There you see the temperature change and a little bit of wind, but 75-degree Fahrenheit air temperature, and the track seems relatively cool. That'll still cool down throughout the night as well.
It's going to be very key for track temperature to really matter, as we're riding on board Jeffrey Belk, and this is just I believe the opening lap. I don't believe it's counting just yet. We'll see, but we'll see regardless. But I believe the outlap shouldn't count regardless. But Jeffrey Belk currently heading through, and headlights are on, and lights on around the racetrack as well.
Yeah, it looks like this one's going to be timed. They start way back in the way back in NASCAR 4, and so the finish line is going to be right on the front stretch where it would be on the short track. But it's going to be interesting. I'm seeing a lot of these cars struggle on their opening lap. There's Jeffrey Belk getting the fastest lap, the first one of the night, but that'll be swallowed up quickly. He's going to drop way back. Gabor Albert Visky goes to the top of the board with a 50.2. Benz Boldis going to be right behind by about half a second. Some big gap there. And then even further back is Aaron Cortez.
So far, just by looking at the timing screen, it's just a lot of variance, really, for most of these drivers. I wonder if Gabor Albert Visky will be able to even further his lap time again, and maybe get into the 49-second range. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out, but so far, so good. Here he is right now, so it's going to be just a little bit of a moment of waiting. Maybe messed up. Doesn't look like he'll be able to get this time by. Looks to be very much slower, so this time it may not even count as well if he did spin out.
Right, he gets right up to exactly 100 miles an hour, and then all the way down, up on the curbs. Gotta be careful. This is the slowest part of the track here, and it's gonna be even slower for him now. Gets down to under 30 miles an hour through there. Crazy difference in speed, and then you've got to get enough mustard to get over that hill.
I'm wondering how much speed could be too much speed, really, when going over the hill. Sometimes you think, well, the faster you go, the better, but sometimes it may not always be the case. With the jump, you're going off the ground and kind of risking a little bit of loss of traction, as Whiskey's going to be rounding way on the inside lane as much as possible, trying to get all the speed. We'll see if he can best his lap time at the start-finish line. It looks to be better, and no, just almost.
9/1000ths of a second slower. And that gap really did vanish, because Benz Boldis is only a 10th further back in second. Remember, they've got heats to be split up into as well, so qualifying is going to stack them pretty interestingly on the grid. Oh, and Mark Samogi just went up to the top as well with a 50.1.
think Smoky was waiting a little bit for his laps, but actually, no, I believe he just completed his lap run. So we're pretty much right at the last second for the most part, or whatever the equivalent could be. But everyone's pretty much done with their lap times right now. So Smoky coming in right at the last second, just under a tenth faster than Visky.
Tim Brokaw, I think, putting in his last one here. And this one might actually be an extra little practice lap for the 80. I don't see Chris Sewell or Ben Jurak putting in a time. Seeing if we've got anyone left.
I believe by the looks of it, Sewell has pretty much called it a day already from practice. So maybe, actually didn't even put it in the practice lap time. So maybe a few issues over on his side, unfortunately. But he was scheduled to start. Meanwhile, Jurak, unfortunately, just did not put in a qualifying time as of yet.
All right, so it looks like we'll have 15 cars on the grid in total, unless Sewell's able to rejoin us later on. Brokaw getting a little extra practice in, and that is going to cut qualifying off. And let's see who we've got in the first heat. Mark Samogi is going to have the pole for that. Bence Boldis is going to be in second. Tim Brokaw is going to be in third place. And Gustavo Cianfrani's, pardon, is going to be right behind in fourth. And we've got Eric Hodel, Ken Apsey, Bence Varga, and Chris Sewell, at least on the grid, but maybe not in the session. So it looks like we've got 7 cars here as they're going to get split up into 2 different heats tonight, Gary. And the lights are on, and the green flag out just like that. Away they go. Samogi, though, going to lose this position to Boldis as they go around the oval for the first time. Leading so far, but they haven't hit the chaotic parts yet. Boldis going to jump to the outside. They've only got 5 laps to make something happen. Boldis going to give him an open door, and 3 wide. Is that going to work? Here they come down into the chicane. Boldis going to make it stick on the outside. Oh, but a spin in the back for Samogi. And more contact further up the field.
Well, from first to worst, essentially, it's going to be, again, the top 2 transferring into the feature for both heat races 1 and 2 for the time being. And we'll see how they fill out in the Consolation event. But right now, it's going to be Cianfrani in that second place transfer spot. As it's side by side for third place between Varga and Hodel. They're going to be coming through on 2 wheels. Was Cianfrani. This is going to be a very chaotic corner, essentially, that hairpin as they come down the oval. And, well, already it's going to be Bence Boldiz just absolutely pulling away. Cianfrani immediately going into the Joker lap.
Let's see what kind of advantage that's going to give Gustavo. Doesn't look like too much. In fact, he almost misses behind him, and Bence Varga will miss that turn behind him. He's going to go straight into the tire barrier. Meanwhile, it'll be Bence Boldis continuing to lead. More cars having problems. But Cianfrani going to be able to fend off Tim Brokaw, who's made his way up there, right behind him.
Going to be providing a little bit of a challenge here as they go slower a little bit this time through the hairpin turn back onto the oval. Samogi making his way by Hodel, and he will get a quick and clean pass. Bence Varga, unfortunately, pretty much out after having a damaged engine from missing that first corner. No one else has used the Joker lap just yet, and usually in Rallycross, you usually save that Joker lap for the final lap, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see a huge host of cars as Samogi almost goes upside down, and unfortunately, it's going to be getting caught. Hodel just trying to get around in some way, and here comes Kyle Apsey right now, and contact as well with Hodel, and Hodel just getting absolutely pretty much shuffled around a lot.
Yeah, he's not having a fun lap for sure. In fact, Hodel actually managed to find a second jump out there on track. Let's take a look at this replay again. This is Mark Samogi. His point of view through all of that action. Comes down into turn number 1. Oh. Boy, oh boy, they are struggling out there for sure. Come back live. Looks like Boldies has taken the Joker lap. Pretty much everyone now going to get that out of the way. Hodel still hasn't, but I think he's having some problems. Meanwhile, we've got a decent battle for second shaping up. Gustavo Cianfrani. Tim Brokaw is coming quick on the back of that number 029.
Brokaw this is going to be his last chance as well. They're going to be coming to the white flag this time, and that is probably going to be it for Tim Brokaw. Well, he had it, and unfortunately, he lost it.
And he's going to lose another spot to Mark Samogi. Hats off to Samogi, who looked like he had thrown this away completely on lap number 1, and he's back in the podium now. Meanwhile, it's the white flag out for Benz Boldies. He's coming up onto the dirt section, about to take the jump. He's put together a heck of a heat here, and he will be the first locked-in spot to the feature. That second place is going to be Gustavo Cianfrani, if he can hang on to it through the hairpin, like we saw his competitor lose. Boldies coming out of the final turn in dramatic fashion. And that number 55 car going to take the first checkered flag of the night as he comes back on the straightaway. Don't see too many battles shaping up throughout the field. It looks like Gustavo Cianfrani going to be able to get that second place transfer spot as well.
Well, it's a great job regardless. Samogi able to better Brokaw for that third place position at the end of the podium. Of course, he will not transfer immediately, but that will help him out in one of the possibly 2 last chance qualifiers that we have scheduled.
So that will wrap up heat number 1. Now heat number 2, it is the battle of the Gabors right up front. Gabor Albertvisky and Gabor Georgi going to be starting on the front row together. Jeffrey Belk behind, and watch out for Aaron Cortez starting in 4th winner at Atlanta just a week ago. And the lights are up. Couple of jump starts in the back. That will probably end up being a penalty later. The 5 car of Albertvisky going to jump to the bottom here. He's going to hold that position. Much different start than we saw last heat. And a lot of contact already. They're wrecking behind him. That's Gabor Georgi getting turned before they even make it to turn number 1. More chaos ensuing behind him. This is going to be a runaway for Gabor Albertvisky because it is just mayhem behind him.
There's 27-48 that had jumped the start. We'll see. The 27 definitely jumped a lot more than 48, but more than likely going to be a post-race penalty, as it is just an absolute mad scramble through the dirt section over the jump. Everyone just trying to figure out where to go as the 76 of Cortez practically absolutely shuts the door in the face. The 996 of Benz Jurak in the dirt section, and this is all for at least 3rd place, maybe 2nd. We'll see, as it's going to be contact into the back bumper. Oh, and again, the 996 gets absolutely turned at the hairpin. Someone's upside down. That's the 44. Just a wild start so far.
And Gabor Georgi came into that, and he actually went into the catch fence. But you're right, it's Christian Berg who has taken the Joker lap here. And he was one of those drivers that you said had a jump start, so we'll have to see that time penalty at the end of this heat take effect. Aaron Cortez chasing right behind, and he's going to get into the back of Berg. It is looking like an unpaved parking lot back there.
Well, dirt parking lots are always a little bit more chaotic than asphalt parking lots since they don't really have actual markings, so that would probably explain why. But regardless, Jeffrey Belk now is going to be setting his sights on that 2nd place position, and he immediately flips over onto his roof, and again, as well, stuck on his roof. Well, it's going to be 10 points for style, but unfortunately, an immediate tow will have Jeffrey Belk out.
Yeah, almost got over a complete 2nd time. Couldn't quite land on his wheels. Here you see the replay. This is Alexander Veldman on board behind him. He'll be coming through this sweeping right-hander. And whoop, around she goes. This has been a even more chaotic heat than the one we saw before. Now, the Joker laps are playing out a little bit differently here. Gabor Albertvisky has that Joker lap, and he's has an 11-second lead over Aaron Cortez. That's the battle for the lead, but Cortez, I don't think he's going to be able to catch, even though he hasn't taken the Joker yet. And if he keeps this clean, and if he can fend off Alex Veldman, he's going to have that second transfer spot, it looks like.
Yeah, at this point, it's going to be all Visky and Cortez in positions 1 and 2 for the time being, unless something happens. Veldman, like you mentioned, does have yet to, did take the Joker lap, I should say, last time around. So really, it's going to be just a little bit of a stalemate here, and really just a matter of just cleanly operating through the corners. But I think Veldman is very quickly catching up right now.
He certainly is. Cortez not going to be able to take his time much longer, but he's not going to have much longer in the race to worry about it, because they're going to be coming up on the final lap. Gabor Albert Visky from the pole to the win, if he can hang on to it. We've seen drivers lose it here in a blink of an eye. And he gets into the wall a little bit, but that's not going to stop him completely. You can see it's just so rough over that jump and that landing. Even trying to manage the gap, this is not an easy track for the drivers to manage by any means. He gets through the final hairpin. Gabor Albert Visky, he's going to take that number 5 car to the feature. He will be coming across the line in just a moment. Second place looks like Aaron Cortez. From 4th place, he'll be able to hang on to it. After being spun on the first lap, he's going to come back and take that second spot over Veldman.
Well, it's a great job by Aaron Cortez to get into the second place position, and a little bit of relaxation is now in order for him, but now it's going to be a battle in possibly one of 2 last chance qualifiers. Again, we have to wait and see as the session finishes up. But, well, Visky and Cortez, they can relax for the most part.
They can indeed. They now have to set their focus on the feature later tonight. But you're right, we'll see how many of the last chance consolation races we'll get. Some more drivers come across the line. Beautiful track lit up here in Indiana. And so this is going to be the C main that they've got going here. Mark Samogi and Tim Brokaw are going to be on the front row with Kyle Apsey, and it's going to be 2 LCQs, it looks like, with the top 3 from each going through. So 6 drivers line up. They all accelerate away. Samogi on the apron, trying to fend Brokaw in the 80. They've got a 3/5 of a shot, as it looks like only 5 cars can be able to grid up, but they've got to take it easy here if they can. Still 5 laps here with 1 Joker, and around goes Brokaw. He's able to save it, though.
I think that wall may have helped him, but now 75 goes around and upside down. Varga just absolutely getting pummeled, essentially, unfortunately. More bad luck as well. At first, it was overshooting the first corner, and now it's getting contact with Kyle Apsey.
Looked like Varga was on a trampoline back there, just bouncing up onto the wall. That is what Mark Samogi loves to see in his rear view mirror of his number 32 at Jetta. He's going to be able to pull away for the time being. That battle for second and third even goes to Kyle Apsey and Eric Hodel, trying to fend off a hard-charging Tim Brokaw. I'd watch out for that number 80.
That's going to be key to look in the mirrors. Tim Brokaw immediately looking and going for the Joker lap. And you can see here, it's pretty much, again, just the apron of the oval portion of the track, and that's pretty much it. So still slotting in behind Eric Hodel, but managing to at least get the Joker lap out of the way for now as both come together in front of him. Both the 18 and the 87, they make contact, but, well, that's going to allow Tim Brokaw to slip right through to second, and Eric Hodel is going to be battling side by side with Kyle Apsey for the transfer spot.
And Kyle Apsey, I'd noticed, had also taken the Joker, but he didn't get underneath that white blend line in time. So that is going to incur a penalty for him as well. I don't know if it's going to matter because he's falling back. And Apsey way up on his roof. Looked like a nosedive there. And another one. That's Benz Varga again flipping into the picture. So that's going to leave pretty much 3 front runners left on track. Samogi away from everyone, and then Brokaw and Hodel. Hodel on the Joker lap now.
Hodel was under the white line. That's the key thing, is that you have to be under the white line, or you get a penalty, possibly. Not sure. I believe it's, of course, post-race penalty, possibly maybe about 3 seconds, but we'll see how that plays out by the end of the race. But in the meantime, though, Hodel pretty much all set in stone for the transfer spots. Absolutely makes contact with the wall just behind the jump before he makes it. But yeah, at this point, he just needs to bring it home and hope for a mistake by one of the front 3 runners.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to have to be a pretty significant mistake as well. One driver I don't think who's going to be making a mistake is Mark Samogi. You just saw there. He put up another fastest lap. You were wondering, Gary, if we'd see a 49-second lap. He was getting close with a 50 flat.
Oh, Mark Samogi. Oh, boy. This is going to be a challenge for the lap record, essentially, at this point. Someone having a smoking engine, and it's Benz Varga again. This is just not the night for Benz Varga. That's who is being caught up on right now from Mark Samogi. As we take a look at Samogi, Varga goes to the left-hand side, and it's going to be a little bit of a, well, you go first. No, you go first. And Benz Varga will let the leader by. So Varga at this point just trying to get to the end at the white flag.
Great job by Samogi there to not push the issue too much, have great patience, and not a track and car that I would think you'd have to deal with too much lap traffic, but Samogi made it work there very well in that number 32 Jetta. There's Tim Brokaw just behind him. He's got a comfortable lead over Eric Hodel there for second place. Now they're both going to transfer as it stands.
Ooh.
But they've got to get around one more time, and don't want to be pushing it too hard like we've seen there. Up ahead, Mark Samogi. He's going to come around that final hairpin. That car might be the cleanest car we've seen finish one of these heat races so far tonight. Samogi, he's going to get his redemption from his first heat, and he's going to go to the feature. Meanwhile, Tim Brokaw, he's going to be limping through the final turn behind the smoking Benz Varga. Brokaw is going to be able to get across the line, though, and Eric Hodel coming around NASCAR turn 4 here as well. He will be that 3rd transfer spot.
Unfortunately, Benz Varga, just a lot of bad luck. He's going to go home. Chris Sewell, who was originally slated to start this race, didn't show up. So, essentially, you'll pretty much be going home in a sense if he wasn't already.
And now our attention has to shift to the B main. Watch out for Gabor Georgi, who he was in second place in his heat. Got turned at the start, and he's going to be starting back in 5th place. Alexander Veldman also going to be very quick from the pole. Roger Clark and Christian Berg will join him on row number 1. Engines start to rev. The lights go out. It looks like a pretty good jump from that yellow car in the middle. That's Roger Clark, but it's going to be 4 wide with Georgi pushing the issue early. Veldman's going to love that, and he's going to hold the apron and get to the lead. He's going to be able to clear Roger Clark behind him. A lot of shuffling going on as they come down into turn number 1.
There goes Georgi to take the Joker lap. Of course, it's going to be one of those tracks where you can't take the Joker lap after you start the lap immediately. So, great job for Georgi to take advantage of that and just get that out of the way. Unfortunately, Veldman from the lead to all the way back in about 4th place right now, battling now the 48 of Christian Berg, who gets turned for the transfer spot just before the jump. This is going to slow everyone down. Christian Berg getting now rear-ended by Georgi, who just took the Joker lap.
This has worked out for everyone but Gabor Georgi, it seems. Unbelievable bad luck for him. Such great pace. But look up front. Alexander Veldman, Roger Clark, and Christian Berg going at it.
Oh, someone hard to the outside wall. That's
Dirac.
Dirac. Yeah, it's Dirac. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened. I think he was going to take the Joker lap, realized he was too late, and then maybe just overcorrected. But either way, The 996 is pretty much out of the race now at this point.
We're still looking for those top 3 transfer spots as we'll take a look at that again on replay. That was a hard hit.
Yeah, it looks like yeah.
Hesitation. So back live, it is Roger Clark, who started second on that front row, and he's going to be able to scoot away to the lead. Meanwhile, a very good battle for the spots behind him. Jeffrey Belk, Alex Veldman, they're both in right now, but watch out for Christian Berg, not too far behind in the number 48.
Almost took the Joker lap as well. Going to try and cross up. Oh, that's not going to work. Veldman, but unfortunately ended up only in the back bumper of Veldman in the opening corners there. So Christian Berg was about to take it, saw Veldman was taking it, thought better of that, thinking, well, you know what? I should probably just take this to the next lap. So we'll see how that plays out in the meantime, because Christian Berg is kind of within striking distance for the most part, but pretty much so is the entire top 4. They're all within distance of each other for some type of a position change.
That smoking car in the background too. That's Gabor Giorgi still on track. He's putting that toughness of the Volkswagen Jetta to the test. Car smoking, and he thinks he can get around for 3 more laps. But it all comes down to that battle for second. Can Christian Berg force the issue on Alex Veldman and get around? They've already played rough so far, and he's not going to have the opportunity. There goes Berg.
I think at this point, that has pretty much almost set the entire top 3. Now, if the only way Georgie can make it now is, well, we'll find out really, but replay coming up on board Christian Berg. Just took the corner a bit too hard, unfortunately, here. Going through the oval, slowing down, downshifting, and curb. And right when it's there, it's pretty much all said and done. So battle side by side for position number 2. Alexander Veldman, Jeffrey Belk battling side by side for second place. Both will transfer, and I think the engine on the 44 is pretty much blown up. It has, so your top 3 is pretty much all set. Now it's just a matter of really who's going to get there first.
And they've come up on the leader as well, Roger Clark. They've all taken the Joker here on the last lap. And a lot of sliding. Clark going to be able to make it through. Veldman hits the wall a little bit. Belk will be right behind him. Like he said, they've all made it through. No reason to play too rough here. Oh, and look at that big slide. Ambitious from Veldman coming in. That's going to hurt him, though. It's going to hand second place over to Belk. And Belk's actually going to go to the lead for a moment, but he's going to be on the outside of the hairpin. It doesn't matter. He's going to be able to get through. Coming to the line. They're going to be almost 3 wide. Belk on the outside, the 69 of Veldman underneath. It's going to be a drag race down the front stretch. I think Belk is going to have it.
An amazing drag race by 0.082 seconds, the margin of victory. Roger Clark getting absolutely shuffled out, but luckily does transfer into the feature.
Yeah, great fun up there for the leaders. They all knew they were going through. They were willing to have a little fun there for the, let's see who got the heat win. So, now we've got a 2-minute warm-up before our feature event, which features 10 drivers. And it will be Benz Boldis on the pole position for that heat, for that feature, that main event, I should say.
After that, I'm really wondering if anyone really is going to be taking it easy into the opening corners here, especially that opening dirt section, because again, that's going to require a lot of give and a lot of give rather than take, especially if you're focused on trying to make it to the end as well. The curbing in this section is just absolutely brutal to these cars, and it's really something to keep an eye on and wonder, well, is anyone really going to try and push the issue so early on, or who really is willing to wait enough to take advantage of really just the chaos that's going to happen?
Our front row of Boldis, Gabor Albertvisky, and Gustavo Cianfrani, they are all looking for their first win this season. Our 2 winners that have come here today to Lucas Oil Raceway. Aaron Cortez and Mark Simogi, they're back in 4th and 5th. They might have a little fire under their seats to get a second win this season. And you know, like you said, Gary, we've seen drivers get turned on the front stretch here before they even get to turn number 1. And with double the amount of cars, this is going to be even more chaotic.
It's going to be just pure chaos, really. And I'm wondering just how, again, just we'll see. I don't know. It's just a lot of wonderment, really, and we'll find out here. But like you mentioned, yeah, drivers getting turned before they even make it to the start-finish line, really, is something to keep an eye on. So luckily, there is enough time for these drivers to single file themselves out, or double file at the very least. But again, a lot of give is going to be needed here in these opening laps.
So that is going to close this warm-up session. Hopefully 2 minutes was enough for them to get their differences sorted out. There's been a couple heated rivalries and a couple of heated discussions go on among the drivers. But here we go. Drivers are going to start to line up for the 10-driver feature. Bence Boldis on the pole. Gabor Albertvisky, 2nd place, and Gustavo Stianfrani back in 3rd. Cortez in 4th, Simogi in 5th. We'll have to see if any of those drivers who got through on the LCQs behind them will be able to take advantage of the attrition ahead of them. Lights are up, and just like that, they're out. It is a pretty good start from all 3 of our front runners, especially, though, Bence Boldis, who has the inside. That's going to help him. A fantastic start, though, from Aaron Cortez from row number 2. He's going to go up to position number 2 already. 3 wide for 2nd place. They're going to have to get that sorted out. Boys, we've seen this not work out before. Boldis into the wall, and around he goes. Cortez is going to sneak away with the lead. Jeffrey Belk now is going to go underneath him as they start to pile up behind him. Belk continues the lead, but he's off the wall. And now Cortez, who's that on the bottom? It's Mark Simogi. Sweet redemption from his wreck in heat number 1. He's going to be coming back and already to the lead after starting in 5th place of this thing.
Tim Brokaw started 7th, got shuffled back to the bag, took the Joker lap on the first opening lap, so he's pretty much all set to go for the rest of the race as the rest of the top 3 continue to battle it out. I was going to say that, well, if the drivers were not going to sort it out, the corner would definitely love to help them sort it out for them. So immediately Simogi goes to the Joker lap. Belk and Cortez decide to wait it out for the time being as they go into the opening corners once again over the curbs, most likely at least in the second half, just keeping it in mind on how these cars handle those curbs. Hodel looking to try and challenge Brokaw for 4th place, but right now the top 3 is relatively broken away.
Yeah, and with Simogi taking that Joker lap, and the Joker lap here not giving you too much of an advantage. He doesn't really open that gap up much back to Aaron Cortez. Cortez and Belk are going to have to be very ambitious on that Joker lap. They're going to have to really push hard to try to get up there and contend for this lead.
Right now, we'll see how Noah's, unfortunately getting turned upside down is going to be that's Roger Clark, rather. Sorry, apologies for that. But Roger Clark getting contacted by Eric Hodel and flipping over, and that's pretty much the race done. Maybe for Roger Clark, he was able to get going, but not without a lot of damage. Tim Brokaw, however, does get the fastest lap. He's caught up to the back of the podium spot behind Jeffrey Belk.
And Aaron Cortez did take the Joker lap there. Belk did not. But yeah, that battle for 2nd place has really started to shape up. There is the front fender of the 80 of Tim Brokaw, the fastest one on track. Belk going to use that little bit of an asphalt strip on the outside. And it's going to be Brokaw who gets up to the podium. Belk still has his Joker lap, though. That might help him get that spot back.
We'll see what can come of this. Cortez can also use his Joker lap to defend, but at this point it might be a little too late as Brokaw comes up to the back bumper. Belk riding on board takes the Joker lap as well behind them. And, well, it's going to be contact, and maybe, I believe, from Cortez. There's a driver upside down. Brokaw into the inside wall. And I believe that's Roger Clark again upside down as well in the middle over on the left-hand side. So Well, Roger Clark, if he wasn't done before, he is now.
We'll see that replay of Roger Clark to see what exactly happened here. He's still sitting there, actually, upside down. I think he's going to watch the rest of the race from there. And this is Tom Brokaw here.
I thought there was contact there, but it just broke loose.
Yeah, he did. It just snapped on him a little bit. Very interesting. Back
contact. Jeffrey Belk got into the left rear of Cortez. Belk just absolutely eager to get back on. Here comes Brokaw again, looking to get by. Oh, Cortez cut the course a little bit too much, and unfortunately had turned Jeffrey Belk around after that. And Jeffrey Belk now also stuck on the interior for the time being. He gets righted back up. Cortez trying to get by Veldman, but Brokaw, well, he's pretty much fine. He's all set for second place at the meantime.
He is indeed, and he's shown a lot of pace too, even after that spin and into the wall that we just saw on the replay. Oh, behind him, not a good hairpin for Aaron Cortez. He's going to lose a lot of ground to Alex Veldman. So Brokaw is quick, but I don't know if he's going to be quick enough to make up a 17-second gap up to Mark Samogi for the win.
Mark Samogi's just absolutely set the pace for this race. I mean, after he got out front, it's pretty much all said and done since then. So I think Samogi, unless something happens, knocking on wood here, but he's pretty much got it so far for the time being. Tim Brokaw just really hovering in second place, and all because really he just played it careful on the first lap.
And Brokaw is going to have to fend off Veldman here as well. Alexander Veldman looking awfully racy back there, and that number 69 and a terrible hairpin for Brokaw. Almost got him overturned, but a great acceleration away from the corner because Veldman not able to capitalize on that.
And both drivers have already taken their Joker lap, but Veldman may try and get him on speed as they enter the oval turn 1, but they'll go dive down into the infield section once again for the 7th time. Going over the curbs, keeping in mind that this curb's not really going to help out. And, well, if you thought road course, or if you thought curbs and road course racing didn't work out, well, this is pretty obvious, just in case it wasn't obvious enough, where curbs here can really upset the car. And that outer strip, as we run on board with Veldman here, as he continues to close the gap, nearly gets into the right side wall, but the outside strip on the asphalt not going to work. Veldman tries a deep dive into the hairpin, and he'll be side by side with Brokaw, who tries to squeeze him down. Brokaw still trying to squeeze him down to the inside. There goes Veldman next to the grass.
What a great move by Veldman, but the question is he going to be able to get around him and clear him? He sneaks through there, but the momentum's going to shift back to the 80 of Brokaw on the outside. He's going to cross him over to the inside. He's going to have the preferred
pass. Had never happened now from Veldman, and Veldman has to work his way all the way back up once again, and he has at the line to...
Veldman's got Aaron Cortez behind him, about 2 seconds further back, so about 2-second gaps between second and third, and between third and fourth. We'll have to see if that comes down. In the meantime, though, we've got a leader of this race. His name is Mark Samogi. He took the win a couple of rounds ago.
Brokaw got turned in second.
Oh, no. And Aaron Cortez slips through.
Yeah, Veldman had taken the corner way too much. We'll get a replay here. But Brokaw at this point has pretty much been shuffled back to now 4th place position. It's going to be coming into this opening section. Tim Brokaw takes the corner, look in the background. Oh, saves it. Here comes Veldman, cuts the corner a lot, and it was just bad timing for both, essentially. It's just the worst possible scenario.
Absolutely. Brokaw's going to be trying to fight back with Cortez. Meanwhile, our leader, Mark Samogi, has taken the white flag. There he is, drifting through the final corner. Mark Samogi, he's going to become the first multi-winner of the Jetta Rallycross Charity Cup. He gets it done today at Lucas Oil Raceway.
Second place, Alexander Veldman had spun out, flipped over, so now it's Tim Brokaw back up to second. Aaron Cortez just behind him in third, but I think at this point it's going to be all Tim Brokaw, so Tim Brokaw with a great race, albeit a very heavily damaged car. Started 7th, waited in the back, got shuffled to the back as well from the late dive as well from Cortez. That's not going to work out. It's going to be a near drag race as they come back onto the asphalt for 2nd place. But it's Tim Brokaw managing to get into 2nd place from a relatively clean way on the first lap. 3rd place is Aaron Cortez.
Cortez tried so hard to get up to the inside there. Great effort on the last lap as the rest of the field comes to the finish line. Jeffrey Belk just got across, and looks like that's going to be it. Only 5 drivers of the 10 going to be able to finish this race as Mark Simogi is going to begin to celebrate there on the front straightaway. That's going to do it for us today at Lucas Oil. We're going to step aside for just a moment, catch our breath a little bit here in Indiana, and don't make sure to check all of the upcoming races sliding across your screen. We'll be back with a full rundown of results and driver interviews. "15 drivers came in to Lucas Oil Raceway trying to get their Volkswagen Jetta a rallycross victory, but only one is going to be able to get the job done, and he's going to get the job done for the 2nd time this season. It's going to be Mark Simogi, the driver of the number 32, the Central Eastern European driver, and he will get that done over Tim Brokaw in 2nd and Alex Veldman in 3rd. Aaron Cortez is going to finish 4th, and Jeffrey Belk is going to finish 5th. That's going to be the only drivers that were able to finish that feature race, but Eric Hodel, Gabor Albert Visky, who was so quick early on, the pole sitter, Bence Boldis, is going to wind up down in 8th place. Roger Clark going to finish just ahead, kind of by default, over Gustavo Cianfrani, another one of those front row starters. If that goes to show you just how chaotic this race was. Looks like we're going to have the opportunity to talk to the driver who finished 2nd, Tim Brokaw, going to be joining us here. And Tim, you got 2nd place there, but you definitely had to work hard for it. That was a fun one there, the feature race.
Oh, absolutely. That was crazy. I didn't know where I was going to end up until the very end on that.
Yeah, and you started back in 7th place, lap 1. I'm not quite sure where you ended up just because we had so much to watch, but were you in one of those wrecks early on in that heat, or were you able to sneak through all that?
In the final, yeah, I started 7th. I had a really bad start, and I actually came into turn 1 in last place. But I took the Joker. There's a lot of people piled up in front, and I was able to sneak around most of it, but I did have to slow down the road was pretty well blocked completely.
Yeah, this is probably the toughest track that we've seen you guys try to race on with these Jettas this year. But talk about, I mean, just the challenges of this race, the challenges of this track. You had the hairpin, you had the chicane. Was there anything that was easy on this track?
Fortunately, I've got a lot of practice on all the rallycross cars and the actual rally for the rally cars, so I do know the layout. The hairpin was a real challenge because if you had the wheel turn too much when the car hits the asphalt, it just whips around or it'll roll over. So you have to kind of straighten the wheel right as that transition's happening. Otherwise, you'll have some really unexpected car behavior.
Yeah, we saw definitely a couple of cars end up going over their lids. But great race today, Tim. Almost got the job done. Going to come up one position shy, but from 7th place, nothing to be ashamed of. Before we let you go, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Just Digital Global Racing and you guys over at GSRC and the guys at Valhalla SimSport for putting this on. It's been a blast.
It sure has. That's Tim Brokaw. He's going to wind up finishing 2nd place today at Lucas Oil Raceway in his number 80. We've got another one to talk to here. Gary, he's going to be catching up with the winner of this race. Mark Smogy's with him.
Hello, guys. Thank you for the interview.
And Mark, congratulations on your win here tonight. You did an absolutely incredible job as well, just setting the pace throughout and coming away with making multiple fast laps. What was your thought process heading into this race?
Thank you guys for everything. So, firstly, I wasn't that good as you say. I was very lucky because on the first corner there was a very big accident, and I was lucky to go through of them. After that, I wanted to go that fast as I can, but and I saw I have 20 seconds behind the others. So I didn't want to slow back because if you slow back, you could make a mistake, and I wanted to stay in this time.
Definitely did work out very well. How did the hairpin handle, especially since the cars seemed to be very bumpy in that corner?
Yeah, in the hairpin, you had to push the gas because if you push it, the front wheels are started to spin, and the car didn't want to flip. So this was the decision why I could be faster than the others because I tried it a lot of times.
Well, it definitely played off. That's for definitely paid off. That's for sure. So before we go ahead and let you go celebrate your win, is there anyone that you'd like to thank for your first place finish?
I want to say thanks for my team, and my team is the George Racing Airsport team. Gábor György, Bence Boldizs, Whiskey, and Bence Jurak is the members of this team, and I want to say thanks for them and for my family.
Well, thank you for your time and congratulations on your win.
Thank you for you two guys.
That was race winner Mark Simogi, and Nicholas is standing by with Gustavo Cianfrani.
I am indeed. Wound up finishing towards the bottom of this heat, but Gustavo, you had a great race or a great day until that feature because you started on the front row there.
I was unlucky that third place is the roast. As you go the outside, and for sure you're going to lose some on the inside. But then when I came up first corner was completely chaos. Cars all around me, and I got bumped many times, and I had my engine with smoke. So just trying to complete the race, but second lap the engine went off.
Yeah. On the flip side, on a positive note, your first heat, you did have a great race. You started back and forth, and you wound up finishing second, which locked you into the feature. So, talk about that race because that went much better for you.
Yeah, that race was much better. Had a good start, and also we had an accident on after turn one, but I was lucky on that that moment, and I got second and had a good lead. I just managed it and tried not to roll over the car on the happy.
Yeah, certainly lots of challenges out there on course. We're going to Daytona next. It's a different configuration than where we were before. How are you feeling about that track?
Yeah, it's very similar to the first one. So I was good there. I just rode the car by myself, but it was a stupid mistake, and try to not to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, regardless, you still had a great day. Lots of fun out here driving these cars. Thanks for stopping by. Before we let you go, anyone you want to give a thank you or a shout out to?
For my teammates from Kinetic Racing, and also from you guys from Gia.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, Gustavo. That is Gustavo Cianfrani stopping by after finishing 10th place in the feature. And that's going to wrap things up for us today. We want to give a special thank you to everyone who came out today for the 4th round of the Jetta Rallycross Charity Cup, including all the drivers who put on the show for us today. An additional thanks to all the amazing companies that provide the software and hardware that we use to create a GSRC production for you. We also, of course, want to thank the very talented June Lalonde, who provides our music. See the screen for more on how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the crew today in the booth, Gary, Joe, and Dougie. Don't forget to check out the GSRC on social media. You can go to our website on globalsimracingchannel.com, where you can show your support by purchasing some great GSRC merchandise. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel, on Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, on Instagram at GSRC_Graham, and of course on our YouTube channel. You've found us already, so make sure you scroll down just a touch and hit that big red subscribe button so you don't miss a second of racing. Speaking of not missing a second of racing, the BRL Grand National Series is going to be headed to Southern National Motorsports Park tonight at 8:50 p.m. Eastern if you're craving some more traditional short track racing. If not, stop by May 30th for round 5 of the Jetta Rallycross action at Daytona. With all that being said, thanks so much for joining us on the show today, and until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.